When it comes to, as I said, BHP Billiton, the world's biggest miner, reporting Q3 update today, forging ahead really with those numbers. We'll see that update shortly, but if we could have those numbers coming up on the screen. Of course, BHP Billiton is the world's biggest miner, and when it comes to its plans to boost iron ore output, we have really seen those coming to the fore. It's a low-cost mining giant is carving out a larger market share when it comes to that. That's, of course, to undercut competitors struggling with slow growth from China. Now, BHP has increased iron ore output for the September quarter by 1% to 39.8 million tons, and copper production up 24%. We've got Quibus Nell, mining analyst at Stanlib, joining us now to break down the numbers. Thanks so much for joining us, Quibus. We'll start with their biggest earnings generator when it comes to iron ore. What were your thoughts on the outlook that they gave for full year production coming forward?
Yeah, look, they said that the production guidance for iron ore, copper, and petroleum will be maintained, and they've basically reiterated that, which is positive. And I think it sort of ties into what we've seen a couple of days ago from Rio as well, where it looks like they're going to comfortably meet their iron ore targets for this year. Now, in a market where you are sitting with softer iron ore, demand for iron ore, and maybe where investors thought the supply side would bail them out, given these numbers we've seen, it's probably not looking that likely.
When it comes to overall the outlook for the iron ore space within BHP Billiton, how's the impact of the fact that they're looking to cut back on capex, especially in Australia with that inner harbour expansion? How's that going to impact their plans going forward?
Yeah, look, I mean, I guess if you look at copper equivalent in terms of volume for the whole company, there's healthy growth that they basically looking for 2013 and 2014 financial years, all above sort of 5 to above 10% in 2014. So that's still looking pretty good. And I guess the capex guidance has it sounds like it's still sitting on $22 billion. So there were small adjustments here and there, a little bit on met coal, etc., but not too much, I guess. No major capital pullbacks.
Of course, BHP Billiton, when it comes to the petroleum side of their business, still small relative to the other players, and they were affected by the Gulf of Mexico, the problems there. That appears to have been sorted out. When it comes to their production forecast for the year, 240 million barrels per day, what type of earnings are they likely to see coming through from the petroleum sector this year? And are you optimistic on their investment in this space?
Yeah, look, I mean, we've seen a bounce back on many of these petroleum assets, some of them that was down, that they brought back into production, etc., etc. So it's a good uplift, and, I mean, there's no question about it. If you look at iron ore, copper, petroleum, those three represent roughly 90% of group EBIT. So those are the key line items that one got to watch for, and, it looks positive at this stage. I guess the petroleum or that energy side has been strong during the last quarter, where we've seen softer prices in many other commodities. So I think it will be it will be a material contributor to the company, and I guess it just illustrates again the diversity that these diversified miners sort of do provide to the investor.
And of course, we skipped over copper, and with all the concerns around China, that of course has been one of the factors that has held back that copper price. Waiting for Q3 figures today from China, but overall, what type of reduction are we seeing coming through, and what are your views specifically on their Chilean operation?
Look, I mean, copper in general seems to be very strategic. I think, we've seen the, production numbers in general sort of disappointing, most of those on grade. We obviously well aware of all the problems of new projects, sort of to bring copper to the forefront. But strategically, it remains a commodity that's well bid, and I guess that the more important question is in terms of margins going forward on copper specifically, and there's a certain amount of stock that is around, which some investors would argue can always come out of the system and sort of spoil the party, in a way. But as I said, it sort of remains key a key copper asset. And again, in the Chilean operations, they do sit some of the best copper assets in the world. It is a tier one company. This, and we've seen, in these times, these tough times, it is normally your better quality assets that tend to do better, and that where investors are generally getting rewarded for.
Well, Cobus, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us on Closing Bell. Cobus Nell, mining analyst at Stanley.